return, we have multiple stations outside China and in China. So we have, as we have already mentioned, we can measure the trajectory of the vehicle.
I mean, it's not like they have a visual of the capsule with your naked eye, right? This has to be done with telescope and everything.
Yeah, with the radars and telescope, yes, and also infrared.
So although we cannot have communication with standard spaceship, but we do have the tracking during the blackout hour with multiple readers.
So the capsule itself is descending rapidly from 145 kilometers. I think at this moment, roughly 110 or 100 kilometers above the Earth, and it's about to enter the blackout at any moment.
So after separation, there are also a very critical step is to adjust the altitude of the re-entry capsule, because before it touches the atmosphere, it must have what we call the attack angle, which means the cylindrical axis of the vehicle with this velocity. The angle should be about 1.5 degrees.
Yeah, the blackout would be a tough period, not just because of the lack of communication between ground and the taikonauts. It will also be a more uncomfortable period for the astronauts. They're going to begin to feel gravity. They're going to feel the frictions of all that burning.
This is the blackout period.
Okay. We can see the trail is generated by the re-entry capsule, a very big spot. So this is the image maybe from the infrared camera.
So this is for the 10th moment, or 10-6 minutes, really.
We just heard from the commander that the tracking of the Kashi ground station has already been finished, which means that I believe that at this moment the vehicle is already in Xinjiang autonomous region.
Left west of Xinjiang, so beyond their observation.
To the east of the Kashi station. So we can see the long trail of the re-entry capsule. The long trail is generated by the ablative material, which is vaporized by the high temperature caused by the friction with the atmosphere. And also, as Yan has mentioned, the high temperature of the ablative material will form a ionized field, plasma shield, which can block the radio waves.
Are all of these infrared images?
Yeah, those are infrared images from different stations. I think they're relaying this from Xinjiang all the way to Inner Mongolia. Yeah. So in
along
Gansu,
the whole trajectory, we have multiple stations.
We have stations in Gansu, so they're observing this from that.
We won't be able to hear the taikonauts in this period of time, but right after they come out of it, they should be able to report their status, whether they're doing fine. We hope to hear that catchphrase many times today.
I feel
as they go through this process. I feel fine.
When the velocity of the vehicle has reduced to several hundred meters per second, the temperature will drop down and will no longer form any ionized plasma. So at this moment, the communication between the vehicle can be recovered. Also, as I have mentioned, we have inertial units inside the vehicle, and we also have the navigation satellite devices. So with these measurements, we can also get the data of the position and the velocity of the re-entry capsule, together with data from the derived from the readers and optical telescopes. We can have the another prediction.
So there's a traction of different ground stations that they're announcing their end of the tracking, because the capsule is descending, so the horizon is a bit lower, so they're beyond the horizon. So the astronauts on board, they're feeling vibrations at this moment, and also they can look out of the window and see red flames out of the window.
So once they're out of the blackout zone, that's about 40 kilometers from Earth, right?
Yeah.
And then from that point to when they land, we can expect that in just a matter of
minutes, yes. Because there is a deployment of parachute, and that will take some time for the capsule to descend from 10 kilometers to 0. These are announcements of different ground stations.
We just heard from the voice that Shuangcheng and Jinshan has captured the trajectory of the vehicle. Shuangcheng and Jinshan are very close to the Zhoutian Satellite Launch Center, which means that the vehicle is already very close
甘肃 province.
清舱回收1号抓捕完成。
Recovery 1 has already get the recovery 1 is a very special reader which can monitor the trajectory even in the blackout area.
It's been a couple of minutes now since they entered the blackout zone, right?
Yes.
Got a few more minutes to go.
Finishing any moment. Yes.
So it's very already close to the point for the deployment of the parachutes.
I don't know about you, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm feeling pretty nervous here.
So even after the blackout, there's a free fall for about 30 kilometers before the deployment
Before the
parachute. Parachute is about 10 kilometers above it.
And then does anything need to happen to the parachutes once they touch down? Because if the parachute continues to be open, would that not cause a drag or anything?
It can cause a drag. It can also,
We
Up
must cut down the parachutes after we landed because the wind can drag the parachute and it may cause
So
some
it detaches
dangerous.
from
Yeah.
the capsule.
Who does the detaching? How does the detaching happen?
it's automatic
It's automatic.
by pyrotechnics, some explosive.
We
What
can,
will be the indication of them
explosives.
coming out of the blackout zone? What will be the indication? Will
we will recover the communication link after coming out of the blackout area.
So, Professor Yang, you debunked this myth for me earlier on when we were chatting, but we always, at least I thought I heard, I was hearing stories like this or hearing this and seeing this in the movies about astronauts fainting during some of this takeoff and landing process. But this
Not very true. They are well trained for the conditions they will face they will feel during mission. That's not only the G-force they will experience, but also a very intensive violation because of the vibration. Because that the aerodynamic forces not only produce the G-forces, but also the vibration is very intensive. So they will be trained on the ground to simulate these conditions, and they will be in good condition during the re-entry.
I mean, it makes sense that they stay conscious
But for
and stay in touch.
for the people maybe who have not been trained for this kind of conditions, maybe they will faint.
Right.
Yes, even roller coaster can get you faint.
That's true.
But the people, the human body can accept
Will that come out of the blackout zone?
That during this re-entry, they only experience the 4G of G load, 4 times of the G load. But they have been trained for up to 8.
Okay, that's
So
there's visual from.
Yeah, there's a
there's a
Oh,
guy.
great.
parachute. Yes.
Parachute.
The drone should have already been deployed.
So there's
There's a couple of them. Right?
yes,
There's
to
a
reduce the
main.
impact of the astronauts, they have to reduce the speed step by step. So there's a pre-deployment of parachute, and then there's a complete deployment of parachute. So they're taking their time so that the astronaut won't feel so much drag.
Oh, it's so exciting. They've already heard the voice of Mr. Jai Chigang, the commander. So that means the communication link has already been recovered.
Parachute is in bright color, normally red and white, making it easier.
If you can see the parachute there, a rescue team should be very close now. So we can observe
And
this
it's a massive one, something like 1,200
1200 square meters.
square meters.
The parachute.
The parachute itself.
It's about three basketball square.
But that's the main parachute.
Yeah. The main
That's the
parachute.
main.
The total area of the main parachute is about 1,200 square meters. Very, very huge.
How many other ones do they expect?
So that's it.
More than one?
We have heard from the commander that he announced the third prediction of the landing point again.
Now, of course, with this visual already observable from the ground, it's safe to say that the third forecast will even be more accurate.
At this moment, the measurement of the wind speed will be very important for the prediction of the landing point.
They must now be, 30 kilometers from us?
Less than 10.
Less than 10 now. Wow.
So at about 6 kilometers high, they will jettison the heating shield, and then emitting all the propellants because we use hydrogen as the propellant for the attitude control.
So
of
that
the
could
reactor
happen
capsule.
any time now.
Yeah. So it takes about 10 minutes for the vehicle to touch down after the deployment of the parachute. And after the deployment of the main parachute, the speed will be reduced to less than 10 meters per second.
That view we're seeing now, that's presumably a graph of where they'll be landing. Image.
This process is just incredible to look at how multiple systems, multiple teams and departments work together to pinpoint where exactly the touchdown will happen, and they will make their way there almost immediately after.
This point is very close to the launch site, to the Jiutian Satellite Launch Center. You know that 3 years before during my first visit to the Jiutian Satellite Launch Center, it is my first time during my life to see the Milky Way. So you can see how clear the sky near that point is. Very, very beautiful.
You can see the weather is in great condition, so there's no cloud and it's everything's observable. No sandstorms. No wind. That's also very important.
This is infrared image.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's
okay.
Like
the heating shield is jettisoned according to the announcement of the commander.
The Beijing.
If you look at the parachute, it doesn't look like it's too windy. Otherwise, it would be,
blowing back and forth, right?
Blowing back and forth, a little wobbly.
And after deployment of the parachute, we also have operation to change the direction of the ropes connected to the vehicle from inclined direction to the perpendicular direction.
How does that happen?
To change some connections on the ropes. Okay, so we will emit all the propellants. And the next step will be the raising of the seats of the 3 astronauts.
Right. So sorry, so just remind us again in the audience and our viewers why we need that seat.
That's because we touch down on the ground is a rigid surface. So we should reduce the impact to the greatest extent. Not only we use the retro rockets, but also we use the energy dumping mechanism of the seats. We raise the seats, and then during the touchdown, we can dump most of the energy.
Okay.
It's like a car suspension.
Yeah. Give it more, right?
And we won't know how the capsule will land. Right, the last time it was sideways.
That's normal. That's very normal.
Is that ideal?
It's not ideal. Of course, the perpendicular attitude will be the most ideal. But you mentioned it's also very normal. This is because that's the center point or the center of the mass of the capsule have some deviation from the symmetrical axis of the vehicle.
So if it lands sideways, and the astronauts are sitting obviously upright. Well, they're lying upright.
Well, the moment of landing is always vertical. And that's after the landing, it's tipped over or dragged over by their parachutes or some other.
But it's entirely possible.
But it's always vertical.
But then it's entirely possible that once it's stationary, once it's landed, possibly tipped over stationary, that the astronauts are sitting in their seats but facing.
It could be, yeah.
They're suspended and they're facing down.
Could be hanging over, yes.
Não, eles estão soltando aqueles gases, hidrazina.
So after deployment of the parachute, we do not need these propellants any longer. So we will emit these toxic propellants. And currently, in the rescue team, there will also be one person to measure if there is any existence of this hydrazine. So if the measure is zero, it will be safe for the rescue team.
Minutes after the touchdown, there will be someone
É o
from the ground
combustível que
team to
direciona
monitor substances in the
And also,
environment.
we have a very important procedure to use the lead cover to cover the summary atmosphere because it's
É
radioactive.
super tóxico, você mata só de chegar perto.
They're just away now
Geralmente.
on touchdown. So if you're just tuning in, we're watching the return of the Shenzhou-13 crew from China Space Station. A 3-person crew. They've been up there for 6 months. Are they coming home?
Balança, olha só.
北京明白。
In many cases, the prediction is very so effective that even we can capture the video of the touchdown moment by the helicopter or by the ground vehicles.
And we won't be able to meet the crew immediately after the land. There's going to be so much formality and procedure before that. You know, there are going to be people that check on them. We talked about personnel checking for toxic substances in the air, and then it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before we actually see the three of them.
So we have a procedure called gravity readaptation. So it's different for different people. For some people, maybe it only need 7 minutes. Maybe for some people, only need more time for the readaptation of the.
Do they do that inside the capsule, or do they
inside the capsule? Inside the capsule. Before the ground team taking them out, we do have this gravity readaptation procedure. So when they feel comfortable, we can get out.
But that procedure is done with assistance of medics.
And also the astronaut, the ground team belongs to the different systems, very different colors of suits. So for the astronaut system, usually they're wearing the white uniform. For the
rescue,
yes,
or it's orange. Yes.
So do you think there's much of a difference? Well, would there be a big difference? I'm sure there will be on for Wang Yaping and the other two, because male and female physiology is very different. So the 6 month impact, would it be very different for her?
It's available scientific data that we're going to be collecting. So once they're returning, the rehabilitation and recovery process is also very important. Yeah, that taking effect
Oh,
of
that's
the
very
wind and
good.
everything, so it's coming down. And
111，北纬
you'll see the ritual, yeah, the
Oh,
ritual
wow,
engine
great.
fire. Yes.
Yes.
It is touchdown.
The smoke of the ritual engine.
返回舱着陆，
The capsule has landed on Earth.
北京
We're
礼拜
from this visual from the chopper, right? That has been
Exactly. It's already
monitoring. So it's so
close to
close.
sight,
It's
yes.
literally there.
literally following it. Yes.
Yes.
So the next step will be the cutting off the parachute.
Chopper has arrived
Projeto de
in
Cabo
position.
What is that?
The ground team will be there momentarily.
Vai
See the choppers all over. Yeah. And
It seems that it's vertical.
was that the parachute or was that something else?
Can't really make it out.
ótimo essa transmissão.
The choppers will be landing as well. Okay, so
So it looks vertical.
Vertical, I think.
北京礼拜
Very
东
precise
方我
landing.
是北京，
that's good. I can't imagine what they're feeling right now, finally back home. In addition to gravity, they must feel so many things together.
东九
Like
回中
coming home, landing in the airport, but so much more.
Having their first
It's like the
meal.
old, it's like the
That
old TV
on Earth.
game. You know, we have the helicopters coming down, mission accomplished.
It does look a little surreal.
Passa camelo lá, né?
Yeah, the helicopters are reporting that they have arrived in position. You have people on the ground moving their way towards the capsule.
We haven't heard anything from the astronauts just yet.
So the ground crew is checking everything. So they'll have to wait for the ground crew to come.
There's a huge crew there waiting for them.
They will not, the astronauts will not be opening,
Pelo
you know, the
tamanho
gate
das
to the
pessoas, é
capsule, right? It will be the
The hatch,
ground,
the
the
hatch will be
hatch
open. Yeah,
The
by-
ground staff will open the hatch.
will open the hatch.
They have to check the hazard of the environment.
na Mongólia,
Houston,
We've never had issues with the opening of the hatch, right? I mean, with all that's happened, if it's
Damaged.
damaged,
or
that's going to be
stuck,
something to
right.
open, but we haven't had that issue. Yeah. You see people dressed in different colors, indicating that they're from different systems.
东风礼拜
It does look like something out of a sci-fi movie right now. doesn't it?
That's why they're not going to be using that pistol this time, though.
this time they will need a ladder to
空中报告，
open the hatch.
Oh, with the elevated seats
The ladder
to open the
to
hatch.
open the hatch. Yes.
无法与脱落，下一步
Yeah, the last time because it was sideways, I didn't remember them using any ladder.
No.
They didn't even.
So they announced the main parachute has been
3
attached.
dias.
And they'll be checking the environment now to see if there's any of the toxins remaining, right? From
Yeah,
the
the helicopter are the first observer teams and also communication team. They arrive and they will coordinate the arrival of the ground team that are traveling with the convoy. And once they arrive, they will have all the facilities and equipment in the car. From there, they can start the process, of opening the hatch and greeting the astronauts and make sure that the astronauts are okay and ready to move out before they do anything. Yeah.
So is it just the propellants that they were releasing earlier that could potentially cause danger? Is there anything else like the residual on
As
the capsule?
Professor Young mentioned, there's also a gamma ray altimeter that could be radioactive.
And that's why they have to go into quarantine as well for a bit, right?
No,
Not because of
quarantine's
the
not
gamma rays,
for
but they have to.
The quarantine is because that they stayed in the isolated volume for so long period. So the micro is quite different from our common daily life. So their immune system will be very relatively weak. So we need this quarantine procedure to ensure their safety and healthy.
It's like last time NASA administrator visited China and he had diarrhea. And he said, it's because of different germs.
You can compare to the expedition team to the South Pole. Usually, that's during their missions to the South Pole, seldom people will be ill and catch cold. because they do not have so much microbes in the South Pole, in Antarctica regions. But when they get back, usually they will very easily get ill because they will need to readapt the ordinary environment. So this quarantine is very, very necessary.
So no concern of anything in space that could have that they would need to be in a quarantine. Yeah.
There's also
they're trying to open the hatch now. I thought that I saw a ladder and someone was on that ladder trying to open the hatch.
Well, they definitely need a ladder to go up.
I've heard from the
they're talking to the astronauts, communicating with the window. I think through the window they're trying to see what's inside and if the astronauts are okay.
Can the astronauts hear them through that window?
Yeah, they can hear the helicopters and the big noises.
The capsule's not too soundproof.
These are welcome noises that they want to
things
hear.
They want to hear. Yes,
absolutely. The capsule itself doesn't look too charged.
Esqueci, eu deixo o alto-falante funcionando e o microfone da câmera. Aí da microfonia.
Because they have been floating the atmosphere in the station for 6 months, so they have to lift their arms at this moment, and they don't have to take any effort to do that, and they're floating around. Now they have to make an effort, use their muscles to lift everything. So everything will be feel very, very happy. It's like you're swimming for 1 hour or 2, and then you feel the ground. You can see that the red capsule it's in different colors.
We're going to talk to our reporter Sun Ye now. She's at the
Vou adiantar aí.
Sun Ye, so successful.
Vai demorar muito isso aí.
What is everyone saying there?
Essa parte eu já vi.
What we're having here, we're actually seeing the same during the broadcast and the here at the Beijing Control Center have been saying the touchdown is perfect. Many of them have been putting thumbs up to us saying the touchdown has been perfect, and they are saying the three cosmonauts Shenzhou-13, they're in the best position to come out of that re-entry capsule. They're sitting in the
Essa escada é 1 hora.
position for them to make the best outing of
americano.
of the dangerous because all some including the president I think are practicing running this drill and they are familiar with the process. But just because the mission itself is so meaningful and such
So everything has to come together. So that will take some time. Even they have a party ready for the school, it will take some time to do that.
In common situation,
Já estão. Eu estou vendo o replay mesmo.
12%
Deixar documentado no canal para os seguidores verem. Eles não têm acesso a esse canal, não têm acesso a um canal. Muito boa a imagem. Né?
He said that when he get back, the captain is completely pleased. So that's very amazing. That's because of that is the important.
Vai começar já já.
The space station, right? It's kind of fun.
Yeah. As I right? Because of the treatment of the I can see a lot of lots of electric parents. That's some astronaut
É para descer ali.
to do the with the system.
That's pretty incredible.
Have the ability to accomplish more.
Ali naquela hora que eu cortei ali, eles custaram colocar a escadinha ali, depois colocaram essa plataforma aí de escada com rampa. Isso foi uma hora. Eles estão divulgando mesmo a exploração espacial deles. Olha que câmera boa, olha que transmissão legal. É eles mesmos que estão fazendo a transmissão, né? Barraca montada. Vão chegar os caminhões. Para atendimento, né? Seguranças. Necessário. Estacionário. Depois, atendimento. Preciso. São 3 astronautas, 2 homens e uma mulher. Engraçado, eu vi um meme deles lá logo quando chegaram na estação. Eles estavam fazendo um churrasco, churrasqueira mesmo, só que é fake. Achei que era verdade, rapaz. Mas tudo certinho, fake tão bem feito que churrasqueira sai de fumaça. Aí vem ele. Puxou, puxou. Gordinha lá. Começou de ver.
It's the first Chinese astronaut to become the space in 1996.
E o astronauta ali no braço.
Always smiling. Makes us wonder, very trustworthy example.
Essa pomada é uma beleza, mas ela corta um pouco, fica dormente. Ela fica até adormecer mesmo, dá uma dor meio forte, vai cortando a circulação, não sei. Anestesiando.
Maybe a change suit, maybe on the helicopter, or maybe in the braking chamber. But this suit itself,
That's an EVA, but with the life support system.
that have air supply and electrical supply
Camel.
from the cabin. So the IBS system is much more simple than the EVA system. And also, the most important thing, I guess, is it provides a visualization. This smiling, there was a big thumbs up from the gravity system. Raising the campus.
Tô bem, tinha uma roupa nele.
Every time you see them, like now,
The smiling is so heavy that we were still.
that way,
Every time we drop it, it's dropping down. A habit of ours.
waving with a
Camel. Tomar sol.
to say something, to do the get here, waving, the cheering crowd.
Good morning, Dr. Dong, I'm a journalist at CMG. Welcome back. How do you feel now? I feel extremely good. I'd like to report to my motherland and the people. We have successfully completed the mission of the Shenzhou-13. We are now back on Earth. Astronauts are one. I myself am feeling very good. I'm really thankful for President Xi for his attention attached to our mission. I also would like to say thank you to Chinese people for your care and your support. Also, I would like to say thank you to all the colleagues staying with us. Our country has grown so much stronger to be able to set up this wonderful working platform for our motherland, our country. Thank you.
We talked about a very hard working platform in this